There's a lot going on this episode. It's titled "In About 6 Hours, I Lose My Virginity to a Fish."
Yeah,
I mean,
and big
it's a pretty long
surprise there in
title.
Atlantis.
Pretty long title.
Yeah,
But very descriptive.
longest title ever.
Probably. They're probably going to outdo themselves. So basically,
it's going to be called Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah. There's multiple storylines in this, and
yeah, there was a lot going on.
Yeah, and it just continues all the way down to the post-credit scenes as well. The main story is Mark has to go down to the parody Atlantis world that is in this show.
Yeah,
and on first thought, he was told by Cecil that he has to go and marry or do things with the queen that's left behind because Aquarius has been killed by, I believe Mark was the one that killed him. I could be wrong. So that's the main thing. But before all that, at the beginning of the show, you got the graduation. They're graduating, and got all the people that are graduating. I think the principal is the gentleman who was in Family Matters.
Oh, the dad from Family? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Carl, the police officer.
Oh yeah, also
so
from
he plays.
Hard.
He voices the character.
Yeah,
and
cool.
Also they made him look like that character as well.
Yeah,
likeness. So, and apparently Kurtman is a huge fan of his character from Family Matters. So that's why that character is there. Cool. Okay. So we have graduation. You have Mark late for the graduation because Mark now is working for Cecil. So he's got to deal with a bad guy, Dr. Seismic. And his whole goal, Dr. Seismic, is to bring back everything in the humans have stolen in terms of natural resources. So like wood, rocks, all that stuff. So he's destroying all the types of buildings that don't use wood. And Mark goes to him, isn't that like most of the buildings?
I also like the line when he first ran into him and he was like, oh, Professor Seismic? And he's like, no, it's Doctor. I never taught.
Yeah. So he's a parody of Mole Man from Fantastic Four. It's a famous character from that comic lore, but he's a parody of that. You also have Adam Eve's story, which I find that really interesting because she has the ability to change molecular structures of things and change them around to whatever she feels like doing.
Yeah.
So she finds her mom gives her a call and says things are pretty bad at home. Come by. The family is kind of, like Dad and Eve don't get along. They have an issue. You need to check out Eve's Alone movie that came out during the summertime.
Yeah, I still gotta run through.
Yeah, that really fills in a lot of things that's going on with her. She's got her own set of problems, right? And so she comes home and she's obviously able to manipulate stuff. So she fills up the fridge with groceries and gives the mom groceries and says, here, you got all the groceries you need.
Yeah.
And then she also makes one of the apples that she gives into gold and says to her, sell this. You probably have enough money for a long time, right? But the father doesn't want anything to do with it because the father lost his job and now is working at a burger joint, which is the main burger joint that they all hang out with. And he's
where Sylvie works.
Yeah, and he has pride. He's like, I don't want all of this stuff. Get it out of here. So they got this rift going on. I want to see how that plays out because it kind of reminds me of Jubilee from X-Men.
Yeah, absolutely.
She was in the outs with her mom and dad, although she was adopted. Who's to say Eve's not adopted, right? We have a whole bunch of other things going on. I'll kind of run it through here quickly. I'm not going to get into too much detail, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it. You've also got issues with the Guardians of the Globe. They've got issues coming together as a team because there's some attitude problems, and some of them actually really suck. The Immortal lets them know that. You have a new member that's trying to get in the team. His name is Shape Smith. There's a little bit of a background on him quickly for people who haven't seen it. They'll show you who this person is. So he's trying to get in the team. His ability is obviously to shapeshift into pretty much any person that he sees. You also have Mark's mom still trying to get back into normality. She's having issues. She's a real estate agent, and she kind of
damn cupboard.
yeah, she can't seem to get it back on track. So she's trying to figure that out. She goes back into the house and starts drinking because hey, bury your sorrows in alcohol. That's the typical thing to do, and so that's not working out for
American way.
That's not working out for her. You also have Mark, his story with working for Cecil. She finds out, she gives Cecil hex, like, why is my son working for you? And he's like, well, your son came to me. I didn't go to him. And he wants to work for me, and therefore I allowed him to work for him, for me. And then I also am very careful. We're not going to get him into any situations, which I find that is not going to happen throughout this show. And then you also have Mark dealing with a job in Gotham parody called Midnight City.
Sure.
So the reason, it's a small area, it's sort of like a giant crystal dome covered in one part of the metropolis that they're in, and it's all dark all the time there, and it's a curse because one of the persons, is it Magic something? I can't remember his name now. Midnight Magic. So when he died, the curse ended up coming to fruition, and it cursed that whole area and made it midnight forever. So it's always going to be dark, Gotham-esque like there. And in season 1, we had a character named Darkwing, who is like a Batman parody. Not
is
like,
he?
Yeah, he's a Batman parody, right?
Whoa,
what a coincidence! Darkwing,
He doesn't
not
look like
Doc,
him.
not Doc.
Oh, no.
He dies.
Yeah.
So
So he gets killed by Omni-Man.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to say that because if somebody didn't see it.
Well, just watch it. It's good.
And then
Everyone
his
dies.
sidekick,
Just
picks up
everyone
the
dies in the
mantle.
show.
Yeah, pretty much. You're not wrong there. His sidekick picks up the mantle. His sidekick's name is Night Boy.
Yep.
What?
Uh,
Knife Boy?
Night
Night
Boy.
Yeah.
Night Boy.
Okay.
Because
He's like
Dark
a-
always there. So Night Boy, who's
He's like a
AKA
Dick Grayson,
Robin.
Oh,
yeah, Robin.
Nightwing.
Aren't they all
sort of-
parodies? Like,
Yeah,
isn't there
they're
like
all-
a
Yeah,
Flash
pretty much.
and a
I
Wonder
mean,
Woman and
Yeah, pretty much. And then
not
so
Marvel though. They're just ripping off
And
DC. They got
they're
both.
ripping off anybody they can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody.
If they wore a cape, there's some allegory
Or
of them in
cowl
the show.
or
Got it.
tights. Yeah, they're ripping everybody off. So, anyways, Mark was told by Cecil, bring this guy in. We want to deal with him and kind of figure out he's gone off the rockers. So one of the things that Darkwing had was the ability to go into his shadow.
Every time you
realm.
say Darkwing, I am waiting for you to finish the name Duck.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm trying very hard not to because I love
When there's
that.
trouble, you call DW.
Oh, sometimes.
best theme song ever.
So the night shadow or the dark shadow, whatever you want to call it, shadow dimension, it engulfs you in there.
Shadow
And
realm.
he tried to use that on Mark, and Mark's like, no, I'm not having any of this. There is a moment there where Mark shows the Voltramite's type of thinking, the evil thinking,
Yeah.
where he's like, I can leave you here and you can get killed by the night creatures
Yeah.
if you don't come with me right now. Right? And I was like, whoa, okay. That's sort of like a hint of what might happen. So yeah, anyways, he brings him in, or unconsciously knocks him out. That happens there. And then we also have the Lizard League. Man, it just like filled with characters, this show.
Yeah.
There's
What's
like so
the-
many people to unpack.
What's the Lizard League?
Serpent Society.
Serpent Society, right?
Yeah. And also G.I. Joe, Cobra.
Yeah, Cobra Command.
So these guys are fighting the Guardians of the Globe. I mean, this is like free agent heroes that are fighting each other.
No,
They're
this is
not.
Wish,
They're like
Wish
low level.
.com.
They're low level heroes and villains that nobody cares about. Street thugs.
Yeah.
Right? Just one step above street thugs. So they're going there back and forth. And in that story, there's one of the Serpent guys. He takes leadership because the main guy is in jail. And long story short, near the end, the guy who was trying to do the coup and take over the group finds out that the main guy comes out of jail. The main guy doesn't like it, pops a bullet in that guy's down goes that guy.
His head.
Problem solved. There is that parody of Cobra, because in Cobra G.I. Joe they had Influx fighting amongst who's leader with either Cobra or Serpentor. They're always vying to be number one in there. So, and then obviously the big base that Cobra Commander had, they actually kind of hinted that's their lair too, which is like such on the nose. Like they didn't even try like to say that this is something else. They're like, nope, we're gonna call it the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Terror Drome, they called it. So that was going on over there. And then back to where Mark is in Atlantis. He thinks he's supposed to mate with this queen. And she's like, hell no, I don't want to touch you. And she's like, you got to go beat this guy. It's like a giant monster, sea monster that he has to fight. And the sea monster literally much like gives him a good, kicking. And then there's a weak point of a Mark that Cecil finds out. The monster has this sonic type of voice or echoing that he does, and it really stops Mark in his tracks. And this is how smart Cecil is. He immediately recognizes this could be a weapon to use against Invincible in the event if he goes rogue. And they go, let's go figure out what this is. Let's get that weaponized, and we'll have this in the back pocket in the event this guy goes crazy. We can use that. And so that you see Cecil always looking out for the interest of Earth rather than the heroes there. He always has a backup plan. It's sort of like Batman in a way. He's always got a backup plan set aside for all the heroes, right?
Or is he more like a Nick Fury type thing?
Yeah, actually, you know what? Maybe more of Nick Fury. Always has. Well, not the new Nick Fury now. The old Nick Fury from the first 10 years of Marvel.
The good.
I don't know.
Fury.
Yeah.
The new Nick Fury is feeding cats. So
right.
So
And
that's
kissing
pretty much
squirrels.
yeah. That's pretty much the main story. Near the end, though, we have sort of, I would say, two post-end credit scenes, because they have the astronaut from season 1 that was left behind on Mars, showing that he's, I think it's called Sequoids or Sickets, something like that.
Essentially,
they're the ones that they took over.
Or
they're the ones that
more like it or the thing.
So they're on their way from Mars to Earth.
Yeah,
right? That's another story that's going to unfold in this season.
But he's still on Mars.
Yeah,
his actual body,
but he's possessed.
And then yeah. So then they're on the way back.
Yeah, they're going to come in a ship, and that's going to be a big problem right there. And then you have the post-credit scene where Levi, who we saw in the first episode, who can go between dimensions, goes into a dimension where Invincible is actually a bad guy, but he's held captive. But in that, they drop a bomb. They're saying that, hey, Invincible says that my dad Omni-Man was actually killed. They figured out a way to kill him, and it did take out all of Europe to do so. So all of Europe, rest in peace.
Oops.
Yeah, but they were able to capture him as well, because they caught him sleeping in his weak point, and they got him. So he's taking that information, and he's going to probably use that on his world, right? He's like taking this information, and so I'm wondering if he works for Cecil, or he's going to work with Cecil at some point, make some money out of it. Like, I wonder what's going to happen here with the two of them, and see how it unfolds, and if Mark's going to actually have this happen to him too as well. So that's what's going on in season 2, episode 2, which I thought was far superior than season 1. In terms of a whole lot of stories happening. It might be too much. Instead of like 4 or 5 storylines, maybe just do 3, but who knows what's going to happen. They might end up having 2 stories kind of merge eventually. But there's only going to be, I think, 2 more episodes after this. And then they're going to take a break and come back in January or February for the other 4 episodes. So we'll see what happens. I personally like this episode. I know it's heavily packed, and there's so much things going on, but I'm gonna have to give this episode probably, I would say, 8.5.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched it.
I did. Yeah.
Yep, I watched it.
I don't know. I feel like season 1 was so much fun and did so many cool things, and because it was almost a parody and kind of over the top and well animated, well written, and I was interested the whole time. And then this season, I'm just like, I don't care. I don't know how or why. There's nothing that I can point to specifically that I'm like, oh, it's bad because of this. Because I still think like all the character development and all the stories are cool, but I don't know. It's just so far, again really like season 1. Think it's great. Think everyone should watch it. Season 2, I'm just like, okay, I'm just kind of over the show, which is weird. I don't know why.
Interesting.
I think it happens. I think you grow out of stuff. So I still haven't watched season 1, but I did watch a recap finally, so I kind of know what happens. But I'm still waiting. I just don't think this is kind of my thing. And yeah, there was a lot going on in this episode. I was like, what? What?
Yeah. Someone who hasn't seen season 1, even if you got a recap of it, it's still not going to give it that wow factor.
Yeah.
Right? When they introduce a certain character from season 1, you're like,
yeah,
okay, cool, whatever. What does this mean? Right? There's already like 4 other things going on. So from that point of view, I get it, because if you're not into the show and if it doesn't pull you in with season 1 characters that you wanted to see what happened to them, then this episode might just be so convoluted and you're just like, whatever, things are happening, cool, people are getting their head smashed in. Right?
Yeah. Like I understood, you gave a better explanation than watching it. I should just call you next time. Ellen, just tell me what happened.
Yeah, just get the Elvin commentary for it.
Cole's notes. Elvin's notes.
I'm into this show. It's my jam, right?
Sure.
It falls into what I collect and everything. So the biggest disappointment I have with this show is they haven't yet found a company that makes. I mean, they have found Marvel Select 7-inch line that does it, but it's terrible articulation. I don't want to get into it, but I'm waiting for a Japanese company like Mayfix or SH Figure Arts to say, hey, we'll take up the rights to this and make some really cool figures, because the parody characters with their costumes look absolutely awesome. They're so far out, and it'd be awesome to put in my collection with the DC and Marvel lines, or even compare them, right?
Well, yeah, or you could have like their counterparts.
Yeah, exactly.
Beside
right?
them.
Like,
what was there was a Batman villain with Sludge or whatever.
in the real DC, you mean?
Yeah.
Scarecrow, you talking about?
No, it's just a big pile of mud with a big mouth.
Oh, Clayface.
Yeah. With the magma guys, that's the seismic dude or whatever, they looked exactly like Clayface from like the 90s Batman cartoon. Like they took the same drawing and just changed the coloring and made it look like lava. But it was like the same mouth and face and eyes. It was funny.
That's pretty cool, yeah. So what would you give this out of 10, guys?
I'd still just give it like a 6. Like it's
okay.
It's not doing anything wrong. I just don't care anymore.
It's not moving the needle for you.
Yeah.
So it needs to have something, because you're almost like.
Wait. I forgot to mention the scene in the shower. Did that not move the needle for you?
Huh?
The scene in the showers with Immortal. And you don't remember that scene?
No.
Oh. Come on, duplicate in the shower with Immortal?
No.
So
I don't remember.
So Immortal is in the shower, and
Duplicate's the one. She's the one who can make tons of herself.
Yeah, so she comes out to talk to her ex-boyfriend. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a total douche in the show, and he cheated on Eve with her Duplicate, and then now Duplicate broke up with him, and he's trying to get back with her, and she's like, no. And then all of a sudden, she started getting a little, how should I word this in a PG way? She was very emotional into it. Yeah, she was really into it, because one of her powers is not only to duplicate, but she can feel her duplicate's emotions, shall we say. So one of her duplicates was still with Immortal in the other room, and she sort of stopped talking to this guy and just sort of made some gestures or and it's just funny. Immortal walks out.
I remember.
Immortal walks out and just like, hey man, Yeah.
So
What's up? I'm the leader.
yeah,
you
like
know?
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not hitting it for me. Like this season, I don't know why. Again, I
think
really
you
and I
have
only,
a couple of brewskis before you watch it.
maybe no, I don't know. Like again, I only watched the first season like a couple weeks ago, and really enjoyed it. And then I was like,
It's
all right,
weird.
season
I
two.
don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think maybe
expect-
just because I feel like the first season just was a.
is it
contained
because
story.
Omni-Man's not there?
Maybe.
Because
think-
he pushes the boundaries, right?
I think
Is he the main part of season one?
He-
Omni-Man?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah,
his
absolutely.
story.
I think
'Cause
maybe
he-
that's it.
He's the whole. He gets rid of the.
And
whole,
you're not the first to say
Yeah.
this.
Globe.
I've heard other people say this too. There's a void missing. He's
Yeah.
and it's. I mean, come on. He's a very famous actor who plays the voice as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. That voice you hear, you kind of sit up and go, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
things about to get real here." Right.
Because like it's a cool play on Superman, which normally
Yeah.
it's just goody goody two shoes. He's
Yeah.
the America's hero. He's the Earth's
Yeah.
hero, and he's such a nice boy. And
That
that's
heel turn really.
boring ass Superman.
Yeah.
And then I know you love him, but I mean,
Yeah, I know. I get it.
break
I
the
get it.
character down or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this is just like, oh, this is cool. And then it's just like he's not there, and it's just like, all right, it's just a dollar store Avengers and it's like Marvel and DC, and it's just like, oh, this is Man Bat, and it's like, okay, I bet he doesn't have superpowers. He doesn't have superpowers, and he has a grappling hook, and it's like, cool. This is duplicate. Oh, can they duplicate? Wow, this is okay. So like that's just, I feel like I'm getting a cheaper version of something that already exists as opposed to a cool take on something.
I think the issue with this is I read some of the comic books, so I'm aware of what's going to come soon.
Sure.
But
Right.
I think the issue with this is for the average viewer, there's this void of Omni-Man gone now, but
Yeah.
whatever they're gonna do, it's not coming fast enough, I think.
Right.
And I'm looking at it from the average viewer's perspective. I think it should. I see the writings on the wall. I know it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
but for the average viewer, they don't know that, and they're just like,
Sure.
"Why am I still hanging around here if the main guy that I gravitated towards to watching this show is gone?"
Yeah.
Right? But I can promise you, there's gonna be some things that's gonna be coming down the pipeline.
Sure.
That's gonna be if they follow the way the comics are, because they did make some changes,
Yeah.
including Mark's girlfriend in the show. That was kind of developed for the show. But I promise that if the season, if they do decide to do it this season, I don't know what's going to come, but the stuff that's going to come down the pipeline is going to be worth the wait. But
Oh, that's good.
I get it from you guys' point of view.
Yeah.
What did you give it out of 10?
I'm probably with Justin around 6.
Okay.
There's been many times when I'm watching a series and then by the third episode, it's like, oh, okay,
Sure. Yeah. No.
now I get it. Or
Yeah.
now I'm gonna want to keep watching.
Or it
But,
clicks. Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully it'll get there. But if not, whatever.
All right. What do we got
What did
next?
you-
on?
Did you give it a?
Yeah, I
number?
give it 8.5.
8.5. All right.